Hello, Floss Tube. It's Pam, stitching between the lines. It is Tuesday afternoon, January 31st, 2023, and this is Floss Tube number 122. Had to look at my list. Had to start over again. You weren't propped very well, and in the process of getting you readjusted, I came across my little stand that I prop you on, and my microphone. So I guess it was a good thing that I didn't have you propped quite right. It's still a little high, but whatever. I don't always have the same supplies out. Let's just say that. Like sometimes you're sitting on a box, or sometimes you're sitting on some books, or sometimes whatever. Today you're on a box. Anyway, January 31st, 2023. We made it through the first month of 2023. Say that a lot of times so we can learn it. It's snowing. It's kind of gray, but brighter gray than we've had for the last, 4 months, 4 weeks. Most of January's been pretty bleak. But on the upside, it has been warmer than normal, hovering always around the freezing level, which is kind of, doesn't make us real happy if something's falling out of the sky. But it's really kind of, the ground or the roads have kept warm enough that too much buildup or icy or whatever isn't necessarily a thing. There's been at least one snow day. And depending on where you live, there was a 2-hour delay in the start of the school day. Fortunately, I don't have kids in school, so I don't have to really think like that. But both my girls are teachers, so that's the kind of thing that comes to my mind right away about the weather. Is will it be safe for my driving kids to head to work, school? So anyway, I think there was at least one day where we had the after school activities canceled. So it's just sort of been all over the place. So that's the January weather report on Floss Tube 122. If anybody cares, it's nice. I don't really have to go out in the weather, but the general idea of the weather seems to always be somewhere in my mind. I don't think I'm alone. When the whole rest of your family has to manage the weather, I guess it comes to your mind. So I could edit that all out because it was so stupid and it took up, 10 minutes? Two. Okay, 2. Anyway, so here we are at the end of January, my first January doing Whip Go. And I'm looking at my list. I made a list while I was having lunch. And I'll try to be organized about all the things because I have a lot of things around me. More than maybe on your average, I don't know, whatever. So, Whip Go pulls this for the month of January. We're number 6 and number 10. And I probably showed you on the last video because I would have known that. So, I don't remember if this was 6 or 10. I don't know. I'm not worried about the numbers. But one of my calls was rural post office at Christmas, which was a gift. It was a gift from a viewer, which I very much appreciated and so thankful somebody thought enough of my wish for this chart. That was on one of my number one wish I could find it. It had been out of print kind of thing. So it was very, very generous. And I'm working on it. I've only worked on it a couple times. I think I started in Mania one year. I got a little bit of this done. Mania, maybe I was working on everything for 3 days. I don't really remember which Mania and how I was doing it. But I had these bricks and maybe the pillar done. And then it was something I worked on for a whole month after that. And I got... when you would have seen it last, I had a bunch of this done. And I think this done. Does that sound right? That I had this done, at least the next time I worked on it. So when you would have seen it last, I had the shrubs. Let me readjust myself. I had the shrubs done, but I hadn't outlined them. And outlining them was unbelievably tedious, only because it was very, very hard to find where I was. So then doing this 10 days for Whip Go, and I did a solid 10 days and maybe a couple extra. I was keeping track in my calendar until I at least made sure I had the 10 days. So I worked on enough of the roof so I could do this, because this was difficult, and I knew this was difficult, and I knew this would be. So I got some sky done, and I got some roof done, so then I could do this, which I did, obviously, and got it outlined. I thought maybe I would get the bricks outlined, but by the time I got this done, I was whooped. That was, it's just a hard piece. It's a piece that will be well worth it. It's just hard. It's not going to go together fast, right? That's what makes it worth the time and effort. So here I am over here. There's a lot of outlining that goes on to create the look of the red brick building. The bricks, the mortar, the, whatever everything's called. So I pretty much feel done for now. It's on the Whipco board again. So it will come out again this year. I might reach a point where I'm just really craving it, and no hesitation, I will pull it out. So my next Whipco was Patriotic Pinwheel Parade. And the pattern is in its bag down here. I'll pull it out in a minute. But first I wanted to show you that I finished it. This was a gift from a viewer as well, and I love it, love it, love it. It's the cutest picture with very few threads. So I'll leave you looking at it for a minute. Then I'll pull the pattern out. As you can see, I have a lot of oversized stuff here with me, just making it a little more complicated. So Patriotic Pinwheel Parade is by, I'm trying to figure out which way was up, is by Artful Offerings. Sorry. As you can see, it's upside down, it's right side up, so looking at it, I couldn't figure out where I was supposed to look. Let me hold it long enough to position it without the glare. This is a pretty new pattern by Artful Offerings, so I am positive it's still available. It's done. The threads are, I use the DMC. It calls for, gives you the conversion from, I think it's All Weeks Dye Works or the DMC, but it's such a cute piece. It doesn't need anything but the DMC. As you can see, my finished piece looks exactly like the photo, and it's done on, oh dear, hang on. I saved that little piece of sticky that was on there. Literally, I stitched it the whole time it was on there. There it is. Shoo! It doesn't even have much stick left. It's on a piece of antique ivory Belfast. 32 count. That is maybe they called for. I don't know. It sure looks exactly like the pattern on that. Like I said, it was a gift. I never looked to see if that's what the called for was. I just stitched away. Oh, came out so good. So that's where we're at with my Whipco. I finished another piece that is not for public viewing. So my whips are down to 10. Isn't that not a surprise for me to only have 10 whips? But as I'm watching everybody's whip parades, I'm thinking, next year I want to have more. I want my whip parade at the end of the year to be a little meatier, says I, now in January. What do you think the chances are I really mean that? Because when I sit down to watch a whip parade, I am thrilled when they have 85 whips. Stitcher Pam doesn't think that is possible. I don't know. What would be real? Real would be, for a couple years I have done where I work on a big whip, a main one in a month, and then I pick a minor one for a month. So doing whip goes kind of throwing, I could have 2 new starts in a month. I could have 2 small things that are called in a month, or 2 big things that are called in a month. So that's sort of a little bit of a monkey wrench in there, I think. And I love the whole concept of WhipGo. So as the year goes on, we'll see if I love it enough that I want to keep up. Because I think in like my ideal world, like I've made any effort to make this happen, I would have 4 big whips going and 12 small ones. So that every month, in theory, I could work on a big one and then they would rotate. I could touch them 3 times a year. And I could have a small one that I would finish by the end of the month. But I don't know. Who knows? I don't even know right now how many big ones, like what I call a big one. Rural post office at Christmas is a big one. Patriotic pinwheels would be like a medium one. I can do the little teeny tiny ones. I can just pick those up and work on those any old time. Like I did in December, I did too. I just don't start willy-nilly. I just can't bring myself to do that. But anyway, maybe by the end of this year, I couldn't have it to a point where I could reassess. Do I have 4 big ones and 12 small ones, medium ones, whatever. Things I can finish in a month. And then if not, then work on starting that. Or we'll see. Who knows? Because every single day, and this is the truth, every single day, I think about what next thing I'm going to start. Every day. It's not always the same thing. And I rarely pick it up and start it. So, I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's sort of, whatever. It is what it is. I can't reason it out. It is what it is. So, moving on to, let me look at my list. I showed you my whip goes. I showed you the finish. My next whip go. I don't know why I'm stumbling over that. Whip go is number 7 and 11, and here we are back again. I don't know which is 7 and which is 11, but interestingly, the Mountain in Winter is one of them, and I just think it was a focus in November, I think. Does that sound right? And then I kept working in December because I wanted to just get, because I'm off 1 stitch somewhere. It spread these out, one somewhere in here, 1 stitch too far. So I worked over and made sure this was all in place correctly, did the border, made sure it came out correctly, and then compensated for that 1 stitch that's too far over in this section, which means I had to just make sure everything fell into place here and, compensate for that 1 stitch off somewhere in all this so that everything else should work out. I think there's too much of the picture to get done in February. Let's see. Madame LaFay, I absolutely love everything she does. This is my first Madame LaFay, I think. Pretty sure I haven't done anything smaller by her. But these, this particular style of hers, I think I have 4 of them kitted up. But this is the first one I've started. So looking at it, the bird is started, the plaid, let's look together. The plaid is not done. There's the bird, start of the bird. There's all this plaid. There's this plaid. Maybe this will go faster than I think. Maybe it'll go faster than I think. I know that this will be tedious because this was very tedious. So we'll see, but I really, really don't think I will be able to manage a finish in February. But who knows? Anything's possible. My WhipGo goal is to work on it for 10 days. I will reach that. Barring some unforeseen event, I will reach that. And then the other call was, conveniently enough, my 8x8, which was my failure on New Year's Eve. Let me just put this one away in its pouch because it's sitting right here. So my 8x8 we reviewed in probably the last 2 videos. I was a failure. I did 4 of them. It was just not a good weekend for starting a bunch of things or having all those hours in one day that I could sit and stitch. You know, sometimes life is busy and I don't always have that luxury. So my 8x8 consisted of 4 of the hands-on design ornaments that are all in this sort of family. I don't know what the whole group is called. Sorry, some of them are started. Well, I started the 4, all 4 of them. And this is the one that's like on the cake pedestal. Cut and carry is one. And I picked this up yesterday because I was done with my Whip Go things on, today's Tuesday, on Sunday night I finished Patriotic Pinwheel Parade. So I picked up one of the, what, you know, is on my February Whip Go, which was the Deer Tier, and I finished it yesterday, which is only a tiniest bit of a lie because I really finished it today. But what happened was, did you see the windows? Did you see how they're yellow, which is really my preferred color of a winter window in a house is yellow. The called for color was, let's look for it, Ginger Snap. You know what color Ginger Snap is, right? Ginger Snap is a Gentle Arts orangey brown. So that's what I put in there, and I was trying to make sense of what I was seeing when I was done, and I went to the picture and I'm like, that's not Ginger Snap. So I pulled them out last night and I put them back in this morning. This is on Weeks Dye Works Fabric I Hate. Color, I don't know. I got a lot of little pieces and parts here, so its color name is somewhere that we might just have to live in suspense till I encounter it again. I'm not trying to bash Weeks Dye Works fabric, but I think we all know. I think we're all on the same, I don't know why I serged the edges. I guess I missed that one. We're all on the same sort of boat. I mean, a lot of us have felt the same way with their floppy woppy fabric. Again, I know I'm not the only one. It calls for straw, but I don't think this is straw. So until I come across it again, or if somebody really wants to know and I can look on my X-Stitch app, which is on my iPad, which is where you and I are talking from. I don't know what it is. And then, so those are the 4 8x8s that I actually managed to do. There were, I got fabric ready to do these 3. Didn't do them yet. So if I get tired of that Weeks Dye Works fabric, I might switch over and work on one of these. I have no idea how many of them I'll get done during this month. The 8x8 is on my Whip Go board twice, I think, probably. So that's good. I mean, and I know Whip Go, I have no intention on finishing everything that I pull. It's just, it's good to do what I can do. The other one that I never touched was the 8th one, which is Prancer by Hobby House Press. So that's what's in the 8x8 bin of things to work on. And you saw, so put these away. You saw the mountain in winter. So that's what February will consist of. I'm not going to say I won't pick up something else, because sometimes that happens. But that'll be the focus. Those two. That's pretty good. I did pretty good. So what else? What else is going on? I purchased some things. Not a big fan of showing the purchases, but here they are. Because they're so cute, I can't stand it. This is Stitch an Inch Summer. And Stitch an Inch Winter. Why do I think I bought fall? I didn't. Maybe I bought summer because, you know, I live on a lake. And I loved winter. And then while I was shopping, I got a Primrose Cottage. I don't have any Primrose Cottage, and they're coming out with tons of really cute patterns. So I picked up this one because who doesn't like a patriotic? Me. Star Spangled Street. Love it. And then this is really what I went shopping for. So Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch. We all know who she is, right? Apparently, roughly half, at least half of what she stitches, I need to stitch. Or she plants the seed in my mind, and then I go buy it. So, anyway, Prairie Schooler, love a Prairie Schooler. I don't have any qualms about how much I love a Prairie Schooler, but the thing that was kind of interesting was, for somebody, me, who collects Night Before Christmas books, children's books, I don't know that I ever saw this enough to realize that's what this was. The verses from that, you know, the start of it. It's not the whole thing. So I needed to go find that. And Elizabeth Ann Can Stitch. I didn't buy it because she's stitching it. That's where I learned about it. And then I hustled off to go buy it. Love that. And speaking of Prairie Schooler, excuse me while I look around. Oh, here it is. I've been kind of thinking about starting another Prairie Schooler because I don't have one going. And, you know, that's one of my rules. But here we are without one. Part of it's because I have Waxing Moons August in the works, and it's so very similar. I got out February. And I decided, for some bizarre reason, time on my hands, I don't know, that I might convert this to overdye. So I went online and I looked for a conversion, and then I went through all my drawers of colors. See, here's the note, to see what would work. And I came up with this wad of colors. It's still a wad because there's not a lot of commitment here. Things are still in bags because I didn't have some colors. So would these work? See, I have some of the DMC threads to see if, you know, I could convert the actual thread when I didn't have an online conversion. Excuse me, I dropped it all. And then I thought I came across the Weeks Dye Works, is this 12 weight that's on the spool? This color. I thought, ooh, I'm going to use that for the border. Because I bought the stuff, so I might as well use it for something. Let me get this in the picture here. See, the border's brown. This would work. Which led me, excuse me, I didn't have room for everything, to have everything in it handy, which led me into my cupboard where I have all of my Sulky 12 weights. Holy cow. I thought, well, if I'm going to use the Weeks Dye Work off the spool, why don't I This one's called Swiss Chocolate. It's 2-stranded. I have yet to figure out if you separate the strands or if 2 strands is what you need. I don't know. We're learning this one together. It's not even open, so I can't even tell you what I'm doing. Except, here's the thing. This is fine if Weeks is going to do this and put them on spools, but they need to work out some sort of plan, because this is the only thing that tells you what color it is. This is not going to work. Weeks Dye Works. This isn't going to work. Sulky has figured it out. Do you see how Sulky has words on the spool? So I might use my Sulky. I don't know. We're not there yet. I haven't started a new thing. I finished 2 things. So in theory, according to my approach to things, is if I finish 2 things, I can start 1. But I don't know. Instead of starting 1 with my last free couple days of January, I started in on the February Whip Go draws. Don't ask. Just don't even ask, okay? I decided at this point that I'd like it on white. So here's my white. Serged. Needs to be pressed. I didn't cut it down to size. I don't know. Doesn't smell like anything interesting. So that is swimming around and could be picked up at any time and started. It's ready to go. And then what else? One other purchase. That's why we're doing purchases, because I had one purchase worthy of showing you. So several years ago on Not Forgotten Farms Etsy shop online, I saw they had these trays that you put over the arm of your chair. Has a little magnet glued in there, and they're always sold out. These springs hold these legs so well that if you bump the thing off of your arm of your chair, the noise it makes as these snap shut and it goes flying, but minus those twice I've made that happen. I'm learning. I'm getting better. It is a fabulous, functional, useful thing to have right there on the arm of my chair. Now, this one is the wide one. See how wide it is? It fits over my Lazy Boy. There's pictures on the Not Forgotten Farm Etsy shop, and you can see what they mean when they talk about, I don't know if they call it a skinny arm or a regular arm or whatever. It is literally like a little tiny, it is really a small arm of like a wingback chair, like a very formal, like a wingback chair. But you have anything that's slightly overstuffed or whatever, you need to get the wide one. Here it is in the red. And every now and then I would just check to see if they were in stock. And all of a sudden, one day they were. In, I think the end of December, maybe I ordered it. And even though I had checked the box or done something to say notify me when these were back in stock, I never got any form of notification. So even if you've done that, I would advise you to just keep checking, because that's how I found mine. And at the time there was like every color, so the red one suited me the best. So there that is. So that was cool. I got 2 more things. I have a quilt I'm going to show. This was a quilt kit I purchased called Christmas in the Valley. It's a kit by Country Sampler. It says designed in piece by Barb Voss for Country Sampler, which I have no idea if it has anything to do with the store Country Sampler. I don't think so. There's a line of quilt patterns that the design is Country Sampler. So Christmas in the Valley, it was a kit. I started it at one of my quilt retreats, and then I finished it. I'm trying to figure out where my chair is stuck on the wastebasket. I finished it just recently. So it's a table topper, and these birds are the cutest thing ever. Oops, let me get you a bird in the view. No, Let's get this bird in the view. Let's try to get one that was more on the right side up. I loved making these. There's 4. One on each side. And then there's 8 trees that go around. I love an Irish chain kind of pattern. And these kind of Christmassy things. It'll make just the cutest, cutest, cutest little over the back of a chair, the couch, on a coffee table, wherever come Christmas time. Super cute. So the fabrics were all in the kit. I have zero memory of where I got it. And it has been sitting on my sewing cutout table space for several years. So I can't tell you anything about it other than that. I can't tell you where I got it or where you can get it. I feel like patterns are easier to find than kits. So Christmas in the Valley, Country Sampler. And then let's talk books. I don't have a cover to show you for the audiobook I'm listening to, but it's called The Sunday Lunch Club by Juliet Ashton. I will show you my note with those words on it. And I will attempt right here to put a picture that I borrow from the internet. So, The Sunday Lunch Club by Juliet Ashton. It is about a family. I think it takes place in London, England. I don't know. It's a family of 4 kids that are grown up as adults, get together every Sunday. That's their tradition, is to get together at each of, somebody's house and have Sunday lunch. And being, 4 kids that grew up in the same family, they all have their trials and tribulations in life. It is told, there's 2 boys and 2 girls. It is told mostly from the oldest girl's point of view. And it's very good. I'm very much enjoying it. So that one's good. And then I went to the library. This has been on my list since I first encountered it, on my wish list, to be read list, since I first encountered it. Let me just kind of look at the date. I think it came out in 2022. So my to be read list, I keep it on Goodreads, and which I use my Goodreads app religiously to keep track of my books. Yep, 2022. I had my list. I went to the library. First book I found was The Lioness by Chris Bohjalian. Chris Bohjalian has written, 30 books, 20 some books. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. I've read at least half of them. I've read, when I count this, I think I came up with 12, and I may have read another 1 or 2. I think the first time he hit my radar was the Midwives, was an Oprah book. On his list of books, it's not his first book. And I thought in the early years of Oprah's book club, she was picking authors' first books. But I might be wrong. I don't know. I don't have any real motivation to keep track of those things. But I know I read that, and I've read quite a few of his books. I think there's some I really, really liked. There was one I tried to read again. I think The Secrets of Eden. I tried to read that again. Knowing the end of the story meant I just couldn't really commit to the story again. A lot of his stories, the ending is a bit of a surprise or a twist or something in that sort of John Grisham style. Even I think if you're looking for it, you might not see it coming, but at the same time, I think you don't always know that it's possible that there could be something coming, because he's telling such a good story. Sometimes his books, I feel, this is me who doesn't like this in a book, makes too much of an effort to teach you something. about maybe the culture of where the story takes place. And culture is not really a good word because it's not like I don't want to learn it, but sometimes I want to read a story. I don't want a history lesson. Or who was it? Jodi Picoult wrote the book about the elephants, and oh my gosh, I learned way more about elephants than I really cared about. I read The Flight Attendant is a good book. I did not like The Red Lotus. Doesn't mean anybody. Feel free to read them. If you haven't read any of the Chris Bohjalian books, go find one. I think The Sleepwalker is where I would tell you to start. The Sleepwalker and The Guest Room were good, but The Sleepwalker, if you've never read anything by him, find that book. I feel like I read The Law of Similars. Pretty sure. I'd have to read the description, but I'm pretty sure I did. But anyway, The Lioness takes place in, I think, about 1963. Think about that. And there's a Hollywood movie star, young woman, who gets married, and she takes a group of her closest friends on a safari with her. And right away, in the beginning, so I'm not giving anything away. Let me just get to see what they call this introduction. First of all, they give you the guest list, which I refer to in about every third chapter. I'm flipping back. Who's this? Is this the wife of somebody? Is this just one of the single people who traveled? I think there's only 9 of them who went. The prologue. In the prologue, you know right away things do not work out well. So, that's no surprise that I say that. His character development in this book is out of this world. I love the style is every chapter is told from somebody else's point of view, and every chapter involves some present day moments, like what's going on in this safari where things went upside down real quick, as well as a bit of a storyline from before at some point in their lives, maybe how this person interacted with some of the other people, whatever. It's just so fabulously written. I can't say enough. The Lioness, and loving every single minute of it. We know things go wrong. I'm going to tell you that right now. So if you only like really super feel good, lightweight stories, then maybe this isn't your story. But it's not gory. It's not scary. It's not suspenseful. Because, you pretty much know something's going to happen. And they don't draw it out, that part necessarily. I'm not going to say that there isn't a little bit of, the story takes time to happen. But, oh my gosh, this is a good book. Most definitely. So I'm very anxious to read about the last, I think I got about 75 pages, maybe 60. Yeah, about 60 pages to go. I'm just sort of savoring it. So highly recommend that one, as well as the Sunday Lunch Club is an enjoyable, but it's not without real life issues. Again, no way suspenseful, not like, not suspenseful. I'm just trying to think of other words that put people off of books. It's just, this is these people's lives, and some parts of it are a little sad for them. I'm not feeling like super duper attached to them, that like things that happen to them are affecting me. So anyway, a couple good books for January. And I don't have any other books lined up at this point. And I have some books, but we'll see what I pick up next to read. I think that's about it. I'm just doing the usuals. The usual things. Some sewing and some more sewing and some reading, and then the errands and keeping the house and, blah, blah. watching Floss Tube, trying my best to keep up. I turned my back, like I was busy all weekend. So no Floss Tube on the weekend. And now I come into it Monday and I'm like, holy cow, what happened? Okay, there's not enough hours in the day. So anyway, I'll circle back. Or there's sometimes people do things that are like an extra and that I'm just like, I can skip that. So I'm trying to find my way to the head of the class again, the head of the line of all my peeps. So I'm working on it. So that's it, I think, for my list. Sometimes I get all done and then I remember something. We'll go with it. We'll call it good. So enjoy the rest of last day of January and heading into February. We're, like I said, had a strangely mild winter so far. We just hold our breaths that there's going to be some makeup coming along. Let's hope not. I say let's hope not. We need snow so that we have the water run off, but we had rain. We had some rainy days in January. So anyway, I think there's some bitter cold coming up, but I don't think any big snows. So far so good. All right. See you, everybody. Bye.